Hello and welcome to another video podcast on the moments that matter in the employee journey. Today we are with a special guest, Jessica, in which we will be digging a bit more into the specific area of the modern workplace. First of all, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us on today's video podcast. And also my colleague and friend, Erik, thank you for joining us as always. But Jessica, could you introduce yourself a little bit, give us a bit more information, and maybe even that connection between your current background and the modern workplace and what you see it's an interesting topic to discuss of.
Of course. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. Absolutely my pleasure. And looking forward to discussing more with you. I am currently working as an HR business partner, which is basically I'm the link between the strategic goals of the company and the people's needs. And as the name already says, HR business partner really is a partner. So on one hand, I'm the contact point for people in the organization. On the other hand, I'm a sparings partner for the management team. And by nature or by its function, HR is actually, we are developing, reinforcing, but also changing the culture within the company and therefore also the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And that means, for example, developing and implementing processes, but also policies, that shape that workplace. And ideally create a workplace where people can really, thrive and develop. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. And if you look at it a little bit further, companies, are continuously required to adapt and transform with all the changes that are going on in the world. Exactly. And that will probably be even more in the future. And HR has the opportunity and that role to basically propel that transformation, by kind of facilitating changes in the culture, but also talent development and everything basically that is shaping that workplace.
It sounds a lot like you're saying that in a way the HRBP is providing the foundation, the structure surrounding all those changes to kind of make sure it's not, it's not those foundations that are just gonna, you don't want to have a foundation that's on the wet sand. You want a nice solid foundation. I feel that what you're presenting in a way is, okay, we've got all these changes, we've got all this happening. Let's try to make sure we structure it in a way that is adjusted to the changes, but also that understands the values of the employees and from a company perspective that works for them as well. Would that seem correct?
Yes, in a way, but not only foundation, I would also say framework, because I mean, if we are looking at specific topics, today you have so many options. Not all options are right for your company, for the country, whatever. So, you're providing a framework where people have flexibility to be creative, to follow also their individual goals, but to still keep it, within a frame to also make sure, and then we come to the business part again, to also keep it within the company strategy, to basically, have both sides. And that's kind of the balance that an HR business partner is trying to achieve.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Because it must be quite a challenge, right? Because you have things as diversity and people from other backgrounds, and you see the frame must be firm, right? And within the frame, it's flexible. But how flexible is the frame itself? Can you be ad hoc in terms of constructing a different frame?
That's a very good question.
I mean, these days you should be flexible, right? I think you have to be, in a way, also to survive as a company. I mean, also this being flexible, learning, to adapt, being agile, that's something you need to have these days. Obviously, sometimes you have some limitations, right? Especially in HR. Many times you're also looking at legal topics. I mean, legal topics are not really flexible. We all know that. So, there obviously you have some limitations, but it's about, knowing your limitations, striving for flexibility, and basically getting the best result out of it. So if there's a limitation, look for an alternative option, just make the best out of it. Doesn't mean, that it's always ideal, but at least you have the best solution possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, if we look at it, and so because you're right, it's we could probably speak about this for 50 minutes, but I think half of my audience will be gone by now if I say, all right, let's push for another 40 minutes. So, guys,
Legal
for the ones
topics,
watching
right?
us, exactly, let's deep dive into that. I'm going to get a full script on that and see how it goes. No, I mean, if for instance, I think at the end of the day, but I don't want to come to conclusions. So for you to say on that one, but the employee well-being is of course something that's aligned with the modern workplace, as you said, the flexibility and so on, and kind of based on your experience and what you have seen throughout those years you have worked in the industry in HR, in the sector of HR. Have you seen any maybe innovations, or have you seen any approaches or experienced any approaches that you seem have contributed to such that are worth sharing out there?
Definitely. I mean, there are so many innovative ideas. I think, you need to try and see what kind of fits, what doesn't. And we are living in a world where basically, we are almost constantly available because of technology. We are working remotely and so on. So we really need to take care of our well-being, and the company needs to take care of the employees' well-being. And with having your work life and your private life so intertwined in a way, that's so important. At the same time, and that's why I said, you need to try a few different things. Not everything is working, and not everything is working for everyone. So the company needs to have like an individual concept, for their people's well-being, because in HR we're always talking about people, and people are individuals. We are all different. So that means that you also need individual concepts. Obviously, not for every person, that would be too much. But you have different people, you have different companies, you have different industries. So find your own concept, with own ideas. And obviously, you have limitations when it comes to budget, location, and so on. But there are so many creative things. For example, employee well-being has different dimensions, right? Or different factors that play into that, whether that's financial, social, physical, mental, like many different dimensions. And you should focus on all of them in a way, to have like a whole concept. And when it comes to that physical health, for example, I don't know if you know these walking pads, kind of, like the treadmills from the gym. You can put them under your desk, and you have like, you can walk while you're actually in meetings or working on something. So that's something that's actually really nice. Obviously, individual preference, if you like walking or not. Then you have, for example, I've seen and actually also participated in active lunch breaks, which is quite nice, like 1 to 2 times per week. You dial in and you have like a coach that is doing exercises with you, which is, very easy going. And just because you're sitting all day, you see your colleagues, you're all doing that, maybe you're together in the office. That's also nice, but obviously there again, that works for people that are sitting all day. If you ask people working in the manufacturing area that are up and running all day, if they want to use their lunch break to do some exercises, they will probably say no, because they just want to rest. So it depends a little bit. Mental health, I think, that's the part that actually has been overseen for quite some time. There are many providers, and they offer a concept that I personally really like, It's like mental health platforms where you can basically, with an account, there are like master classes, there are videos. If you have the feeling, there's a situation you can't deal with properly, maybe you can't talk with your manager, HR, whoever about it, look at the video. There are some psychologists that can actually offer support, like with a chat function. You can book appointments with them, things like that. I mean, there are some really nice ideas out there. Also some more creative ones that companies bring chefs during the lunchtime to the kitchen, and they cook you your food. Basically,
Wow.
everything that is making your life easier, really. I mean, everything that is making your life easier promotes also your health and well-being. And if we are looking at bigger companies, that maybe also have a campus, they are talking about, or they actually have parcel shops. You can send your parcel there, pick it up, bring it back. We all know it's a struggle if you're not at home and your neighbors are not at home. Your parcels end up somewhere in the city. So, you can combine it with work. There might be a grocery shop. You can bring your laundry there, everything that is making it easier for you. And in the end, or as a consequence, that's helping with your overall well-being.
I still like, on the one end, what you were mentioning prior, like having those the sports activity, the chef. I would really like to know which company offers a chef. I didn't have this in multinational corporates.
Well, actually, some also have a kitchen. So there is no
Yeah, well,
chef, but there's a kitchen, and then you can cook
I
yourself.
mean,
Or you're lucky, and there's a colleague who cooks the food for you.
I will put it out there for any future employees. If you have a private chef, contact us. We'll be happy to hear this. No, but I mean, jokes aside, it's like I'm also curious because, of course, you mentioned it's very different. That there's not one single approach for each company, for each individual. We shouldn't put them in a box, right? As you're mentioning very correctly. But I'm kind of wondering, how do you see? Because, of course, a multinational corporate and a small startup might not have the same budget, might not have the same full understanding or the same resources, whether it's human resources, whether it's financial resources, and so on. What would you say are like the key pillars, therefore, that maybe a smaller company can still follow that might support in having a better workplace, considering that they might not have the same resources as a multinational corporate?
To be fair, I mean, it's related to resources, yes, but not necessarily to financial resources. Obviously, yes, depends on what you're doing. But taking the example of the chef, for example, of course, you go there, you get your healthy lunch prepared, you can tell him or her your preferences, all good. You save some time, you have some good food. On the other hand, if you're working in a company that cannot afford that, and you're looking for more solution, and you have a kitchen, for example, cook together, it's a time there, it's good for collaboration, it's a team, also cross-functional. There's not lots of money. Of course, you need the time because you prepare it yourself, but it's just an alternative. Don't even have a kitchen. Colleagues, maybe like everyone can bring. And I mean, these days, most companies national, maybe you can even share. Actually, also sometimes doing some like very where you're from, and then
What
you
do you
kind of
bring?
have like a shared lunch. It's budget friendly, it's time saving, but it's lots of fun. It reduces stress, and it's good for the well-being.
What did you bring from Germany?
Actually, I did not bring anything German, I have to admit.
Guys, you have to call it. We're right in the 12-15 minutes. So thank you so much for sharing today your experience on this, your expertise, if we may say, on this. And I think there's much more to deep dive into. And, other than that, wishing you guys a great day, and from us and from our partner LutherOne. Thank you so much.